Welcome, Starfinders, to Starfinder Week. My name is Cody. This is Taking20, a channel about all things role-playing games. And today we're continuing our coverage of Starfinder's classes by taking a closer look at the mechanic. So, I hope you guys are ready. Let's get started. Okay guys, so before we jump in and talk about the mechanic, I want to give a big thank you to my sponsor here for Starfinder Week, Miniature Market. If you guys have never checked out Miniature Market before, I highly recommend that you do. I've been shopping with Miniature Market for a few years now, and they continue to impress me with just how much they discount their games and how big their selection is. Board games, tabletop miniatures, trading card games, role-playing games. Miniature Market is the place to go if you are a gamer like me. And guys, I am serious about the discounts. They're significant. And of course, if you want to snag some discounts on the full Starfinder lineup, be sure to check out the link down in the description below. It'll take you guys right to everything Starfinder, and it'll let Miniature Market know that I sent you over. The mechanic in Starfinder is your chance to play some of your favorite characters from science fantasy like Chewbacca and Rocket Raccoon. They know how to fix, tweak, adapt, and even disassemble things when needed, and can be an invaluable member of the crew when aboard a starship. Mechanics are clever, sometimes too clever for their own good, and they aren't afraid to get their hands dirty. And they can hack through systems otherwise thought impenetrable. Mechanics get access to a powerful AI that takes shape in either the form of a built-in Exocortex or a highly customizable drone. So no matter what type of mechanic you decide to play, the one thing you won't be short on is options. As far as stats go, we see that the mechanic gets 6 hit points and 6 points of stamina. The mechanic's key ability score is intelligence, though they will also place a premium on dexterity for their ranged attacks, like most classes do. The mechanic only gets 4 skill points per level and has just 8 class skills to choose from. Those are athletics, computers, engineering, medicine, perception, physical science, piloting, and profession. They also pick up light armor proficiency, as well as proficiency in basic melee weapons, small arms, and perhaps the most fun weapon type in the game, grenades. The mechanic is a 3/4 base attack bonus class and gets full save progression in fortitude saves and in reflex saves. Okay, so let's talk about the class features. At first level, the mechanic gets perhaps its most important class feature, artificial intelligence. This is going to have the biggest impact on how your mechanic functions, and once you make this choice, you won't be able to change it. So the Exocortex is an artificial processor that interacts with and augments your brain's cognitive functions. Your Exocortex is literally implanted within your body or brain and allows your AI to access your thoughts and feed you information. Alternatively, if you decide to go with a drone, you get a drone. This drone holds your AI and is highly customizable. We'll talk more about each of these here in just a bit. The mechanic also gets its bypass class feature at level 1. This gives you an insight bonus that increases every few levels to both computers and to engineering. And as such, I would highly recommend that you invest every level into those skills to really put this ability to good use. And the last feature that the mechanic snags at level 1 is custom rig. The short version is this. You can build a custom toolkit into a body part, your armor, combine it with a data jack, or just put it into a handheld device. This lets the mechanic always have the right tool to hack a computer, allows them to control their drones, and acts as a free Mark I communications unit. Now, unless for some specified reason, like maybe you don't want your arm to be susceptible to magnets, it does just seem like the easiest choice is to just include it into your arm. You won't have to worry about it getting lost or using up an armor upgrade slot that way. But again, you may have your own reason that you want to use it differently than just including it on one of your body parts. At second level, we start getting into the core of the mechanic class outside of your choice of AI, and that's mechanic tricks. Mechanic tricks are broken down into 3 tiers with level requirements of second level, 8th level, and 14th level. And you'll get to take a new mechanic trick at every even level in the game. Now, I won't be covering all of the tricks here, obviously, but here are a few that I really like. Starting with the level 2 tier, I really like Hack Directory. If you watch the Starfinder premiere, you'll actually have seen me put this to use to avoid a rather nasty little trap that had been set to sabotage a wrecked starship. Hack Directory allows the mechanic to immediately become aware of all countermeasures that have been activated when you fail a check to hack into a system. Then you get to pick one of those countermeasures and make a new computer's check with the same DC to stop that countermeasure from activating. So if you're going to be your crew's computers expert and you plan on doing a lot of hacking in your game or in your campaign, I'd recommend looking at this particular mechanic trick, though the value of this trick may carry more or less weight depending on your game master's playstyle and the overall campaign theme. A sort of silly ability that may be a bit more polarizing with people, but that I really got a kick out of, is Overload Weapon. This gives the mechanic the ability to turn a powered weapon into a grenade. This is not a terribly powerful ability, and it does have the drawback of requiring a resolve point to activate. But the roleplay fun that could come from sabotaging a guard's weapon to explode during a daring escape, to me anyways, definitely seemed like it was worth it to give it a try. The Soldier's Bombard style completely outclasses this mechanic trick, so again, only take it if you are looking for a fun ability rather than what's actually mechanically better for your character. If you're looking for a mechanic trick in the level 2 tier that will be highly usable, then you may want to consider Energy Shield. This, to me, stands out as perhaps the best mechanic trick in this tier, and it lets the mechanic, as a standard action, activate a shield around them, granting them temporary hit points. This shield grants you temp hit points equal to your intelligence mod plus your mechanic level, and remains active for 1 minute per mechanic level. You can also use this ability again if you have spent a resolve point on a 10-minute rest to heal up. So at 5th or 6th level, I could see this granting you an additional 20 to maybe 30 temp hit points over a single adventure, and to me, that is pretty good. So moving on to the level 8 tier, if you guys have taken Drone with your AI, I really like Drone Meld. This gives you, as a full action, the ability to wear your drone. Yes, you heard me correctly. While wearing your drone, you gain some of its abilities, i.e. a flight system if you have the hover drone, the camouflage or invisibility mod for a stealth drone, or reductive plating for a combat drone. Resistant energy is a mechanic trick that might be worth taking if you already took Energy Shield previously. It will grant you a resistance 5 against an energy type of your choice even when the shield is inactive, which is a key point there. Resistant energy is a mechanic trick that might be worth taking if you took Energy Shield previously. It'll grant you resistance 5 against an energy type of your choice, even when the shield is inactive, which is what makes that so good in my opinion. Also, Ghost Intrusion seems like a great choice if you're in a campaign that's heavy with espionage or infiltration. When you make a computer's check to try and access a system but fail, if you only fail the DC by 4 or less, you don't trigger any countermeasure, and there is no log of you attempting to hack into the system. And looking at the level 14 tier, a solid choice right off the bat is Extra Mod, which gives either your drone or yourself, if you took Exocortex, an extra basic mod. Improved Resistant Energy will bump your energy resistance to 15 and grant you a second energy type of your choice. And Invisibility Hampering Projector lets you use your custom rig's holographic projector to overlay a holographic image on any invisible creatures within 120 feet. In essence, completely negating all of the benefits they get for being invisible. And finally, I really like ultra clocking. This requires you to have taken both overclocking and hyperclocking But if you did, you can, as a move action, grant either your drone or yourself, if you took Exocortex, haste. And you can use this ability again after you take a short rest to heal up. At 3rd level, the mechanic also snags weapon specialization and overload. This lets you try and overload someone's weapon, for example, for 1 round and can be used either with your drone or with your Exocortex's wireless hack. You cannot use this on the same object after you have already overloaded it for a full minute. So while it could be a great opener ability in combat to just shut down someone before you ambush them, you won't be able to completely just lock up their weapon for the entirety of combat. At 5th level, the mechanic picks up Remote Hack, which gives them a growing range on their computer's checks. At 7th level, the mechanic gets Expert Rig and Miracle Worker. Expert Rig lets you shut down one countermeasure installed in a system, and Miracle Worker lets you repair damage to a starship and modify weapons and armors, granting them a +2 enhancement bonus to either an armor's EAC and KAC for 1 minute, or by granting a weapon a +2 enhancement bonus to attack and damage rolls for 1 minute. At level 9, your overload ability becomes stronger as you pick up Override. This lets you now short out androids, drones, robots, etc. If you try to overload one of these mechanical beings, they'll have to make a will save. If they fail, you daze them for a round. But if they fail by 10 or more, then you get to dictate all of their actions for an entire round. Though, of course, they still won't take any type of self-destructive actions. Coordinated Assault, the mechanic's level 11 class feature, will provide a boost to different abilities when you work with your AI, depending on the type you chose. You'll get either a +1 to attack rolls when you attack the same target as your drone, or you'll get a +1 to hack into a computer system when both you and your Exocortex attempt to hack into the same system at the same time. And both of these bonuses jump to a +2 at level 17. At level 13, the mechanic's custom rig gains a free firewall countermeasure, and this also gives you the option of encrypting your communication back to your starship. At 17th level, you get a very powerful and interesting ability called Control Net. This allows you as a mechanic to now operate 2 different AIs, one in a drone and one in an Exocortex. You must, however, divide up your mechanic levels between these 2 AIs, and the number of levels given to each of these will affect its corresponding capabilities and bonuses. You can also only change these assigned levels whenever you gain a new level in mechanic, and considering that you guys have to be level 17 to even gain this feature, you obviously won't have many opportunities to make changes to this. So my advice, plan wisely. The mechanic picks up 2 more abilities at level 19. The first is Ghost in the Machine. This is a very powerful class feature, and it bolsters your override ability so that if any android, drone, or robot fails its will save against you, you can just take control of it instead of requiring it to fail that check by 10 or more like previously. Additionally, you can blow resolve points to overcome its 24-hour resistance to your override. The second level 19 ability is Superior Rig, which lets your rig gain the lockout and wipe countermeasures should it fall into the wrong hands. But again, this will only be applicable to you if your custom rig is maybe in a handheld device. And finally, we have the mechanic's capstone Tech Master. This allows a mechanic to convert weapons and armors to different weapons and armors of equal or lesser value. I'm not sure just how useful this will be, to be honest, once you've reached level 20. So if you're not crazy about Ghost in the Machine and you aren't worried about your rig giving enemies a ton of information on you, then it may not be a big deal for you to multi-class and dip 1 to 3 levels into something else. I always recommend Soldier as a solid choice, but Operative would also play nicely with the mechanic and unlock some more skills, granting you sniper weapons as well, while giving you access to Trick Attack, Operative's Edge, Evasion, and Exploit, and possibly Quick Movement if you dip for a full 3 levels. Okay, so let's talk a bit about Exocortex and drones. So if you take Exocortex for your artificial intelligence, you will pick up several new abilities as you level. The two most important, in my opinion, are combat tracking, which you get at level 1, and wireless hack, which you snag at level 5. Combat tracking simply lets your AI track a foe in combat. This lets a mechanic use their mechanic level in place of their standard base attack bonus. And eventually, you also gain the ability to track multiple targets in a combat as well. Wireless hack allows the mechanic to use its AI to hack a nearby computer instead of tracking an enemy in combat. You can also work with your AI to hack into a system that requires multiple rounds of hacking. But if you've not taken the remote hack ability, you'll still need to physically be next to the system to work alongside your artificial intelligence. Again, there are a few additional abilities granted by the Exocortex, but I simply can't cover them all here. Okay, so moving on to drones. There is a lot of information here, and I'll most likely make an additional video down the road that goes into more detail on drones. But for now, I'll be able to give you guys a brief overview so you can at least get a good feel for how this AI works. So right off the bat, here are some answers to probably the most common questions that people have. Drones follow your commands. If you fall unconscious, the drone won't take any further actions until you regain consciousness. Drones act on your initiative after you have gone and can either take a move action or a standard action to attack. You can control your drone directly. If your drone dies, its AI continues to be stored in your custom rig and you can rebuild it. This is free, but it does require 24 hours to do. Your drone is highly customizable. When you level up, you can rebuild your drone, changing any of the choices you made in its construction. Your drone has its own stats, including AC, saves, and hit points. Okay, so now that that's out of the way, let's look at how we can customize our drone. To start, you'll need to pick one of 3 chassis: combat, hover, or stealth. And as you'd imagine, this is going to most affect how you can use your drone. Each of these options will vastly change the drone's AC, speed, saves, ability scores, skills, and initial modifications. I'm not going to list them all out here, but I think you guys get the idea. Something I do want to note very quickly, however, is its sizes. Combat drones are medium-sized, stealth drones are small-sized, and hover drones are just tiny. So in short, there are 2 main categories when customizing your drone, either with feats, yes, feats, or with mods. The drone has a list of base feats that it can select from, and at level 10, it gets the ability to select from feats further down from a feat tree. For example, the drone can snag lightning reflexes initially, and then it can choose improved lightning reflexes after it has reached level 10. Drone mods vary widely and are the most extensive way for a mechanic to customize its drones. Mods come in 2 types: basic, which are available at level 1, and advanced, which become available at level 11. So it's really tough for me to recommend specific mods over others, as this will really be dependent on how you want to use your drone and your overall group's composition. But for the argument's sake, here are a few that I particularly like. The first is manipulator arms. It lets your drone interact with objects like keypads, doors, or just by bringing you a glass of water. The next mod that I really like is camera, for many obvious reasons. This lets you look through your drone's eyes with your custom rig, and it even lets you record up to an hour. So this is just simply great for scouting. Weapon mount is most likely the first mod that you'll want to include on your drone. The short version? It's a weapon mount. And finally, climbing claws are another mod that I like a lot, and again, for scouting reasons mostly. This mod gives your drone a climb speed equal to half of its land speed, though hover drones will obviously find this a lot less useful. When it comes to advanced mods, you'll get access to some really interesting and useful abilities. Just a few that I like are echolocators, invisibility field, and medical subroutine, which allows a drone to try and provide medical assistance to you when you drop to 0, despite the fact that you are unconscious. When you drop, the drone spends its actions moving to your side and then takes a standard action to administer. When you drop, the drone spends its actions moving to your side and then takes a standard action to try and administer aid. Once it's done so, you can spend 2 resolve points to recover hit points equal to your mechanic level. Though your drone doesn't gain the ability to heal any other party members if they drop, and you can't use this ability if you don't have the resolve points to spend or if it's already healed you like this in the last 24 hours. But still a very, very solid mod to consider if you are having issues staying on your feet. Overall, I again think this class is really well designed. Personally, I like the concept of a pet class where you feel like you can actually use and lose your pet. With the drone, which I am of the opinion is a better overall choice than Exocortex, having the ability to rebuild its body while retaining the AI just makes a lot of sense to me. If you've played pet classes in other role-playing games, sometimes you can be a bit overprotective with your pet. But here in Starfinder, I don't think that that will be as big of a problem. And in addition, if you are just being reckless and careless, requiring the time to rebuild your drone is something that I think keeps this in a good balance. Also, have I mentioned that I really enjoy the options? Because just how many different small choices that you'll get to make, I think the mechanic will be another core class in Starfinder that will feel totally different in how it plays from one campaign to the next. Also, I enjoy the amount of strategy that this class can put to use, and I feel like there will be a lot of options in combat with how you want to engage your enemy. So if you want to play a class and really want to make sure that you're not going to get too tired of it too fast, I think that the mechanic is a solid choice for that. So what do you guys think about the mechanic? Do you like the Exocortex or the drone better? Do you like that there are a lot of customization options, or do you find that it's really a bit of a hindrance and feel like maybe it's just too much to keep up with? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Also, be sure to check out the video's description for a full guide to all the coverage here for Starfinder Week on the channel. I'm going to be releasing 28 videos for Starfinder over the next few weeks, so if you're looking for a place to keep up with everything Starfinder, I've got you covered. If this is your first time here and you love role-playing games as much as I do, I'd love to have you subscribe. Every week I'll be putting out new videos on GM tips, player tips, tutorials, and more, so if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, just hit that subscribe button down below and come join us. Once again, I want to give a special thank you to my sponsor, Miniature Market, for making all of these videos possible, and thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Cody, and may your games be filled with awesome memories and even better friends. I'll catch you guys next time.